Thank you for being here. Woo! If it's your round of applause, bravo. So, non mi ricordo. Okay, yes.
Anche lì.
If it's your first time in indietro?
Indietro.
Indietro, yeah. If it's your first time
Start over.
Va bene. At PyData Milan, this is an open community, so it's run by volunteers. So being here is just being part of this community. If you want to help more, reach out me and the other organizer, which is Gianna, Luca, Giulio, Cesare, and maybe someone else that I forgot, but we need for help. So if you want to join the community as organizer, we are open. Please.
Lo vedi sullo schermo.
Okay. So we're part of NumFocus, which is the global organization that runs, for example, NumPy as organization and many other educational activity like ours. Please. Okay. We are a non-formal community, but we always ask you to be kind. So we have this code of conduction. And so just be kind and be welcoming for everyone that is joining the community. Last thing, on PyData, this is our QR code if you want to join on Meetup, if you're not already registered. We usually have monthly meetings on the third Wednesday of the month. And we have a sessionized call for speakers open. So if you want to make your talk, it's open. And so please, even if it's your first talk and your first experience as a speaker, you are welcome. We also run PyData Milan, which is another community similar to this, but it's more related on software, so less data, less AI, less LLM, and more fun stuff on Python. And we usually run this on the first week of the month. We will have a Python Milan event the 4th of March in Talent Garden. So check the page on Meetup for the registration. As you have seen, that the available seat fly away. Thank you to our host, especially Iliad, of course. So I ask you a round of applause for Iliad and all the other locations that hosted us in the past. Also, if you like to host an event, we are more than happy to do it with you. And I think, last is for to say thank you to Python Italia and to Division Lab for helping us with the tools, so the recording and the microphones and so on. I've said that's it many times, but I think that's
really
actually, there's another organizer, it's Pietro, so grande applause for Pietro, and I leave the stage to Riccardo for an introduction of Iliad and to the talk. Thank you.
I think I'll stay here. So great to see you guys. Super cool to have, let's say, such a big, full and energetic room. I need to do some of the host work here. So thank you, Paolo and PyData, for organizing this. Thanks to the Klarna team for joining us. So I'll start with my speech, but the best part is the second part, so be sure. Probably it's the third part because we will have free beer later on. So I know you all came here for the free beer, but allow us 1 hour-ish, more or less. We'll try to be quick and informal, and then probably the best time of this kind of communities is in front of the beer. So again, we will limit a bit the Q&A at the end. But again, you see our faces, so feel free to reach out to us later on. That's it. So I'm so happy to be again at the meetup. So I think I need to give the credit of, let's say, my professional growth to meetups. So 10-ish, 12-ish years ago, when I started my career as data scientist, data science was not a thing. We didn't have any mentor. So it has been a great opportunity for me, but for many let's say, old faces I can see around here to grow in a, let's say, peer-to-peer way. Okay, we never had people to learn from in data science. So I'm happy to host you guys here and to give back what I can to the community. So I will talk about something a little different from what you might have been used to at these meetups. So I'm talking about architecture, and I'm talking specifically about open source as sovereign architecture, which is a topic that is becoming trend and cool now, but it's always been super important for us as Iliad Group. A few words about Iliad. So Iliad Group is the 5th telco group in Europe. It's founded by Xavier Niel. If you don't know this guy, just look at his story, super fun. This guy is a maker, okay? So Iliad Group is a telco company, which is a sort of side effect of, let's say, some garage job of his. So he with some friends, actually built the first free box, which is sold as Iliad Box here. So basically, they decided to build a telco company just to sell the hardware they were super proud of, okay? So easy task, by the way. Anyways, let's say our founder brought a very big maker culture, okay, to the group, which is not known so much. But I hope that today you bring home, let's say, something new about what we do at Iliad and why we think we are a bit different from the traditional corporate, okay? So for us, it's always make over buy, aside some exceptions. So, and this applies to consultancy, external work. So we prefer to do stuff internally. And it's the same for third-party software. So we rather build our own software. Even our core systems, they are homemade, okay? And it's not standard for a telco, I would say. So Iliad Group, few numbers, more than 50 million subscribers, okay? More than 10 billion revenues, and we invest a lot in AI, okay? So telco tends to be a bit of a commodity industry. So how do you differentiate today with great user experience and with some ancillary service that are slowly becoming the core, which are investments on AI, data centers. So, I have a deep dive later on it. Our main 3 countries are France, Poland, and Italy, with some fancy brands you might know or not know. In France, we are not only B2C, but we are B2B solution providers as well. So for example, Stancer, FreePro, they provide either payment or, again, B2B services. You have Alberto here working for Stancer if you want to learn more about what Stancer does. Around AI investments, so the big assets of the group are Scaleway, Qt, and Opcore. So this is the hardcore part of building physically the data centers. Scaleway is our cloud. It used to be part of Opcore, then now are 2 separate companies. And now Scaleway is probably the first or the second European cloud provider, okay? You have Jacopo and Fra later on, if you want to deep dive, maybe later, something more about what Scaleway does. Scaleway will open the Italian data center in a few months from now, next month, actually, okay? So again, growing. We don't have European cloud providers as big as Microsoft, Amazon, or Google. But again, we are growing, and we are happy to have a cloud provider in the group because we are building very strong synergies, and we are happy to, again, contribute to the growth of this, let's say, part of our group. And then Qt is the fancy stuff, actually. It's where Xavier puts a lot of money. It's actually research. So we are trying to steal some top-tier American researchers, okay, and bring them to Europe, okay? As you know, France is at the forefront in Europe for investment and research in AI. Qt is super focused on the voice part, okay? Again, check as well Qt out. There are some open models out there. Try them, let us know. And that's it. So very important for us to invest in this. Italy. Italy is more or less a startup that actually made it, because we are now at more than 1 billion revenue, okay? Actually 1.2, 1.3 billions. And we launched in the Italian market as a startup 8 years ago. So many of you witnessed what Iliad did actually for this market. So we tried to bring to the market our core values: transparency, simplicity, okay? And I think Iliad actually committed and delivered actually these promises. We are the only telco operator which is actually growing consistently, in Italy. 30 quarters as net add leaders. The net adds are the difference between the new customers you have and the ones you lose. So we are basically growing systematically since 8 years. Okay? We are now a big startup, actually, more than 1,000 employees, and we're trying to become mature, become bigger. We're still as a startup internally, okay? But we are trying to make ourselves a little more adult, I would say. And in this part, let's say the data team, again, is rather new, okay? It's a super humbling experience because data is helpful, but not necessary to make money, okay? I think it's a key message for all of us. Again, we try and we are trying to be a partner for our business counterpart. We do not support IT, so our mission is to make money for the company, and we try to do it together with our internal partner, data product developments. We are a team which covers the whole value chain of data, so from data engineers to business analysts and data scientists, machine learning engineers. We also have data platform engineers, because since we don't use a lot of OTT managed products, we need to own our own infrastructure, and so we have some dedicated DevOps resources for the Italian data. Okay. So the DS is finished. Okay, let's go to the straight content. Today I will guide you through what we are building in terms of data architecture. So we come from purely on-prem data architecture. Now, thanks to Scaleway, and for 1 year and a half, for platform into Scaleway. And we go software open source first. So all the tools that you're gonna see later are, again, mainly open source. We are going to stay high, honestly, not really reforming, because in the telco we are a heavily regulated industry, so data needs to stay on-prem. Okay? And we are designing our new data architecture to allow for scalability, not since the beginning as per our values, but design for scalability. Cost efficiency, and again, we want to have full controls. We don't want to rely on third-party networks as much as we can. This is the overall architecture standard. So we get data from IT systems, third parties. Guys, we receive files from logistic operators, carriers. You know how painful it is to have a proper data engineering pipeline, but we're trying to manage it in a scalable way. We have a first ingestion layer that is based on object storage when we batch. So we use object storage as a decoupling layer between IT and data. Okay, as you know, sometimes there is an overlap when data goes into the transactional DBs and trying to pull data out and basically kills the operational DB. We try it. Okay. For real time, we have Kafka, open source to standard. We have a core processing platform, which is I think a little different from what you see at least in Italian. So we have Flow and DBT and SQL Mesh. Okay, for the ones of you who do not know SQL Mesh, it's basically very similar to DBT, but allows you to have in the same time SQL models and Python models. Okay, these allow us to have the same processing platform upstream, data mainly SQL, but also downstream for data scientists that are much more, let's say, fluent with Python. So SQL Mesh is allowing us to have consistent transformation layer across the whole value chain from the very raw data to the data mart. Okay. Iliad, guys, you are crazy. Why the hell using ClickHouse? Nobody in it knows how to use ClickHouse. Nerds, okay? Slowly, very slowly, I went to again launch the product, and show why. I use it as an analytics, okay? For setting, not so good for joins, but okay, handful, okay? And then the last part, in the age of AI, we have a set of AI endpoints that we use in every step of the data processing step. And we mainly use the LLM as a service provided by Scaleway, okay? That's great because we don't send data across the ocean, okay? So again, it's not our on-premise, but at least it's European. And in our case, it's basically our cousins. So we have full control over everything that we send over an LLM. And then again, this core processing platform allows for all the downstream consumption use case for the more traditional BI and analytics, push out on service analytics. Then we have ML and AI. We believe a lot in the geo analytics, Paolo. Again, if you think about the telco, both from a commercial standpoint and from a network standpoint, you have a lot of metrics that are geolocalized. Okay, so for us and for some specific hardcore computational use case, we see that having a specific database and calculation engine for GIS, it's super helpful. And then we have what allows us to be, again, a modern data team, which is the system activation. So we want everything we do to be fully integrated, not only with analog consumption, people, dashboard, bases, but let's say our operational system. So we try to close the loop, integrated with, again, operational and commercial systems, such as the networks or automation endpoints. Okay, so I try to scope by journey. Okay, so as you know, a data platform is big and complex. To break down the different journeys that we enable thanks to our architecture, and try to go more in detail. Journey 1, for more data and transformation, the world of data engineers. Here is what we told you before. As of we use the on-prem, but we're slowly moving towards the managed objects. So use the managed Kafka. For the ELT pipeline, try to, as you know, the data loads are very spiky and requires a lot of both and horizontal elasticity to be consistent. Okay, and the traditional VMs are so handy, so easy to use, but sometimes not sufficient. Okay, so to again marry the choice to manage these to have a full stack. For example, with SQL Mesh, when you have a Python model, you can immediately spawn a Docker container that is executing that specific model. Okay, and this the Kubernetes cluster behind the hood is super. We used to work with a flow by doing local computation, but now we are trying to improve this and push down as much as we can all the computation flow only as a pure orchestrator. This 90%, 95% in terms of, and it's again a purely batch oriented architecture. That ClickHouse feature, which is an external table based, okay, coupled with a materializer, which allows very, very high throughput pipe ingestion inside. So was born a corner alternative. Okay, the are the Iliad Group, the Russian team. If I'm done, so it's super good for serving. So a BI is something that really has had is the ability to couple storage and computation. So it works very well with external table. So you can run external table again on Kafka, on S3, on Postgre, for example. And now it varies. So use a lot of this. So you can specify a table in the front mode. So you basically push down to an select star and use the click out instance to do some federated joins. The SQL dialect is a little more complex than the Node dialect, because you can specify, for click house on cluster. By table, you can specify the engine, and you can specify if it's distributed. Multi-binary because it's with one cluster, we can have a huge diversity of tables for a huge diversity of use cases. It scales both horizontally and vertically. We can thank to the Scaleway Kubernetes backend. The output is meant to be producer-oriented data products, whatever that means, but we try to these ideas products not super much because it's difficult in terms of organizational impact. Again, that I think we are going in the direction. Second journey, super important as well with organizational impact. The BI part, we are trying to push for decentralized BI, self-service analytics. Rather see if you think only about dashboarding, a little more complex with the business users. Okay, also to do their own data manipulation. So it's some build where so we build like experience with have push your And we have this do-it-yourself tool integrated here, for which you can create pivot table-like analysis, and then plug in into a custom email. A little beautiful, not super beautiful, could be improved, but at least you are one click away from the analysis. So this email has some other links, brings you in to the tags. So if you want to deep dive, you just click on a number and you go to correspondent analysis. The future, which is for example, can ask what is the quality of the service in my sales area, and the tool tells them, okay, I know where the answer is, but you're not allowed to get this data. Okay, if you want to have this data, click here, request access to it, and I'm gonna give you the answer. I think this is the thing that's a little different from what you see around. And then again, click run actual query standard in natural language. So as you can see, you have either a link to a deep dive analysis. I know it's a little small. With see if you want into one. Don't have the answer for now. Line search, again, everything. Footprint, okay, and we want them to bridges. For the ones of you who don't know what PostGIS is, it's an extension of Postgres to allow the same technology to, let's say, use some more oriented functions. For example, we calculate with these technologies isochrones, curves, okay? And you have to calculate, for example, the distance, but in terms of time, not on, let's say, spatial distance from a specific point in space, which is helpful for our, let's say, sales products. We also have QGIS server and the interface to render all this kind of stuff. Of course, for the network domain, GIS is like amazing to use. The activation layer. We are using this amazing tool. Again, it's called Nasmaker. I think they're Polish, if I remember wrong. It's a decision engine, basically. And also this one is very graphic, so you can both it. I think it has, you can do some kind of UDFs in Scala, okay? But you have a lot of plug-and-play blocks, okay, to play around. We use it, for example, as a middleware between our email server, we want to launch some campaigns, and let's say our data platform. For those of you who are Iliad customers and have the marketing consent, so please do it, because otherwise we do our job. Okay. The emails you received are prepared by the data team and sent to you by this amazing tool. Okay. And we use it in a very basic way, but for example, our Polish colleagues, they use it for real-time decisioning, either on device or on network or commercial events. Gen AI, Scaleway LLM service point is the backbone of everything. There are applied such as Odama, Mistral tools, DeepSeek, Quen, GPTOS, and now the Scaleway team is integrating also Kimi and GLM. Again, simple endpoint, AI compatible, you get key. Okay. Again, good for us because we can put internal documents on it. So built on top of it, we have our internal ChatGPT. It's called GenX, and it's built over Open Web UI. Again, another cool open source project. You just plug an OpenAPI compatible endpoint, and you have, for example, as a service. So we have our business users building assistants by adding a prompt and the knowledge and distribute this to many other colleagues. Okay, and again, self-service business, so we're not a bottleneck. When they have some security issues, then come to us and we translate it to maybe a web application using at scale LLM endpoints. And RAG as a service and AI-assisted coding, we are slowly moving to open code, which is similar to code code. And at the moment, plugged behind it. Works as good as code code, but it's ours. It's sovereign. It's here. Good enough if you don't do much complex stuff. Again, for the web app, we are simple. We go full stack it. And inside DataX, you have an easy deploy tool. You can easily connect to your you deploy it inside DataX, meaning you use the same access control model that you have also for data. You can do the same for application. Last but not least, and our data platform engineers it. Scaleway, it does have all the managed services that you have, for example, in Azure. It means that we need to do more stuff by ourselves, and we've built a modern stack, which is, again, covering all the cloud ops and security, I would say. So infrastructure in Terraform, or CI/CD deployment with Argo and GitLab. We provision resources on Kubernetes with Helm, and we have keycloak in between everything that we build on our data platform and our Microsoft 365 processor. Last but not least, the security. Because we have also a physical cable, okay, between our data center and Scaleway. But in general, we use site-to-site VPN to be sure to have everything secure in transit, and we have dedicated VPCs inside our project to have everything secure at rest. And that's basically it. So again, ways seems complex, and it is complex because you rely on plug-and-play tools. You have to add complexity, okay, and overhead in management. That's for sure. Okay, but on the other hand, you control, you gain control. You promote, make culture, okay, because you have to know your shit, to make stuff work on top of it. It's sovereign, and in this way, we can decide our own level of scalability based on the maturity step we have in each journey. And we're hiring. So is somewhere, okay? Consider that again, if we don't spend money on consultants or on commercial licensing, we spend money on internal people. Because we need to do people, we need to have people to do stuff. So that's it. Questions, and then we go to cool stuff.
1 minute.
Wait.
Repeat the question, please. No, tu ripeti la domanda.
Vai Iliad stilla e dopo la ripeto.
I have curiosity about the cost. I don't know if you made some estimation about the cost for it on public cloud as well as Amazon. What's the difference? Is it low?
So I'm trying to interpret Iliad's question. Iliad is asking about the total cost, okay, in having such infrastructure versus having, let's say, OT infrastructure. We have never done it scientifically, but again, for us, it's important to have full control. So we have actually two alternatives: either a European cloud provider, if it's part of the group, or an on-prem infrastructure. And for sure, cloud is cheaper. Again, for us, from a company perspective, basically we variabilize all the infrastructure from a Iliad Group perspective, and let Scaleway do the investments in. Scaleway is cloud provider, but is super focusing on AI offering. I guess it's the cheapest GPU you can find around. Okay, but again, talk to these sales guys here later.
Last question. We take the question for the aperitivo.
Yeah, hi there. We out of these reasons really as to why it's custom. I come from an Azure shop, so a very different setup here. What's the most important one? Is it the data sovereignty, or is it the cost essentially as the previous question?
I think the first.
The first.
Okay. Again, we're a French company.
Why is that so important?
I think it's a cultural trait. Okay. and today it's been starting as a core value since years, but I think if you see around what's happening today, actually in hindsight, makes sense. You know? Again, if you don't have control and if you lose control over everything, you can have the cheapest infrastructure ever, but maybe you have some hidden cost that you're not considering, I would say. No, that's for sure. That's for sure. Again, as of today, we are using the Paris data center from Scaleway. Again, in the next months, we are planning to have everything here. And again, as part of the Iliad Group, again, we also have a physical cable. That's the of security. So thank you, guys. Whatever question